we know how to check whether a number is a solution to an equation or not. Now we want to figure out the solution to a given equation. Our goal when solving an equation is to end up with a variable equal to a number, or maybe the reverse of that, a number equal to a variable. An equivalent equation is an equation that has the same solution. We are going to be using the addition property of equality to help us solve linear equations. The addition property of equality says that if you start with an equation a equal to b, if you add c to one side, well, then you have to add c to the opposite side to keep it equal. Let's have more of a real life example. Say that you have two stacks of money worth $30 a piece. Now it's possible that they look different. So maybe I have a 20 and two fives, and I have three tens. Each of these stacks of money equal the same amount, even though they look different. If I decide to add another $10 to this side, as it is, my stacks of money aren't the same. And that's what equals means. They're the same. So to keep it equal, I'm going to have to add that same amount to the opposite side. That's what the addition property of equality states. If you're going to add an amount to one side of the equation, you have to add that exact same amount to the opposite side of the equation in order to keep it equal. Since subtraction can be rewritten as addition, this property can be expanded to subtraction as well. So if I subtract $20 from one side of the equation, I'm going to have to do the same thing on the other side of the equation to keep my stacks of money having equal value. Basically, whatever you add or subtract to one side of the equation, you must add or subtract to the other side of the equation. Let's solve n minus 4 equals negative 48. My goal is to get a variable all by itself with a coefficient of 1 on one side of the equation and a number, a constant, on the opposite side of the equation. Right now, n is not all by itself. It has a minus 4 there. I want to eliminate the minus 4. To eliminate the minus 4, I'm going to do the opposite operation. I'm going to add 4. Why do we add 4? Well, if you have negative 4 plus 4, that gives us 0. It essentially disappears, leaving us with just our variable n. But to keep it legal, we have to do the same thing to the opposite side of the equation and add 4 to the right side as well. Negative 48 plus 4 gives me negative 44. N equals negative 44. We can actually check any of our answers using what we learned earlier in this lecture. All I need to do is plug my number back into the original equation and see whether I get a true statement or not. So let's see. Is negative 44 minus 4, is that equal to negative 48? We clean up the left side, and we do see indeed that we get negative 48 equal to negative 48, which is a true statement. You can check any answer to any type of equation you solve for your entire mathematical career using this technique. Let's solve our next problem. This time the variable is on the right-hand side. That's no big deal. This time we'll keep the variable on the right-hand side and move our constants to the opposite side. If you feel like that is really a problem for you as an individual, you can rewrite this problem and you just flip-flop the right and left sides of the equation. So that's an option for you. I'm going to keep the variable on the right-hand side because I would like you to feel comfortable with the variable being on either side of the equation. To get the y all by itself, I need to get rid of this plus 12. I'm going to perform the opposite operation, and I'm going to subtract 12. To keep it legal, I got to do the exact same thing to the other side of the equation. On the right, those 12s are going to drop out because positive 12 minus 12 is 0, leaving me with just y. And on the left side, negative 36 minus 12 gives me negative 48. Again, we can check our answer by plugging it into our original equation. Is negative 36 equal to negative 48 plus 12? Cleaning up the right-hand side, I see that I do get a true statement. Negative 36 is equal to negative 36. Our next example is a little bit different because we see that we have variables on both sides of our equation. But please note that I only have constant terms on one side of the equation. Since we have constant terms only on the right-hand side, that tells me that the constant needs to stay on the right and the variables, well, they need to move to the left. I want to move this entire term 16z. It is a positive 16. I'm going to do the opposite operation. I'm going to subtract 16z from both sides. 17z minus 16z leaves me with 1z. As we've discussed in earlier lectures, you can either write the 1 in front of the z or not. Z's cancel out on the right-hand side, and I'm left with just a positive 8. We end up with 1z equals 8, or simply z equals 8.